Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing a restoration on a very uncommon Barbie clone, the 1961 Ideal Mitzi doll. If you have seen my other Barbie videos, you will notice that she is very much heavily influenced off of the famous teenage fashion model doll by Mattel.
Cool.
This was their answer to Barbie. Now this doll was patented in 1960. She came out in 1961, only lasted 1 year. In Canada, she lasted longer than a year and was moderately successful. I don't know what made her more successful in Canada than in America, but I'm sure there's some excuse. But I kind of do understand. Let's take a moment and look at her fashions. If we look at her fashions, she's not what I would call glamorous. Her fashions are really basic and they don't seem to have those little details that Barbie introduced. Like for instance, check out this Barbie ad. At that time, nobody was coming for Barbie. Also, there's just something more appealing about her, and I really do think it's her fashion. Look at this one, for instance. Now let's take a look at one of Mitzi's gowns.
Bitch stole my look. Just steal that dress, bitch. She stole a corner.
Again, when making doll-sized clothing, execution is everything. And attention is in the details. And at that time, nobody knew details like Mattel. And after Ideal got Barbie slapped in the toy sales, they decided we're not going to compete with Barbie. We are going to make a doll for those who are intimidated by her. And welcome Tammy. But she's in her own restoration video coming out soon. She is wearing her original swimsuit. She was actually wearing a Tammy outfit that I didn't have over top of this, so the fact that she has this, incredible. So yeah, it's got some weird construction going on, I will say. We're gonna see what that's all about, but she will need to be cleaned. This doll has mold on her. You can see like where the vinyl, the plastisol is leaching through on her. She's all scratched up. She has like a little bit of her finger missing, which I can't really repair, so she's just gonna live like that. Might be able to find a body donor later on. But she's a really cool Mitzi because she has curled bangs, and the more common one came with just straight bangs. So when I saw her, I said, oh, she's like almost like legit a Barbie clone. So we are going to get this doll all cleaned up. Like I said, she is nasty. She's disgusting, darling. Ooh. But we're gonna get her looking all nice and fresh, and then we will put her next to Barbie and see exactly what the competition must have been like. So I took the swimsuit off the doll, and I just want to show you the construction of the swimsuit, so that way you can kind of get the hint of what the craftsmanship was like with Mitzi. Mattel was just blowing everybody out of the park at this time. Mitzi, honest to God, had no chance without a fabulous wardrobe. This is a very papery-like material. It is a faux velvet. It is like a velveteen. It's just a bit of, I want to call that maybe like some sort of like plasticky fabric with flocking on it. It's really not that great of quality. Later on, Mattel would do this, but they would use a cotton type fabric and not really like this papery fabric under here. We're gonna see how this does whenever I wash it, because it is filthy. It is really gross. But I have never seen a swimsuit for a doll constructed like this before, for a fashion doll, that is. Yeah, you just kind of want to go like, what were they thinking? Like, what's going on here? But yeah, we're gonna get this all washed up, and we're also gonna get her washed up, and of course we'll have a grand reveal at the end of the video. Now this doll would have originally had earrings, which she no longer has. She would have had some faux pearl earrings. Now we can see the full body. She's got that little weird crotch joint where if you do sit her down, she just goes
Spread eagle,
which is not glamorous whatsoever. But that is what Mitzi is working with. So let's go ahead and get this doll washed up. Mitzy is really filthy. She's got some mangy dirt on her that has been caked on for what seems probably years. So I'm going to leave her in the sink. I've got some hot water and some dish soap in there, and she can sit there and she can reflect on her very long life. Now this doll is very hollow. So she's not going to really cooperate as far as like the water goes. What I really hope is that the caked on dirt will actually just soften up by the time whenever I get to my baking soda and my toothbrush and start scrubbing, so that way I don't have to scrub really hard. If you are ever curious on how I'm cleaning my dolls, I'm going to tell you exactly how I do it. But if you would like a more in-depth video on how to clean up your dolls, go to my playlist and go under Doll Restoration Tutorials. There you will find tutorials on how I do everything from cleaning the bodies to repainting the face, and I go into doing the hair and hair types on many different dolls. So if learning and being entertained are for you, you might like that playlist. Or if you would like to see some random clean up her dolls, that's a good playlist for you to watch as well. This doll really needed a lot of scrubbing. I don't usually have to go in twice with my baking soda and dish soap routine, but I had to with this one. She honestly was that dirty. But there's something that I love about this Mitzy doll, or just Mitzy dolls in general, as well as Barbie clones from this era. They all just had a little bit of hint of glamour to them, and I just love that. Personally, I think that Mitzy is her own doll in her own right, but although we can really see the writing on the wall that she is a Barbie clone. Whereas Tammy, to me, is not a Barbie clone because she takes the concept but takes it somewhere else. Whereas this doll takes the concept and tries to do the same thing, and it just really didn't work out for them. So now we're going to do Mitzy's hair. Her hair is now completely dry. You don't have to wait for it to be dry. I just had to do some other things and it dried on its own. But from what I can tell from looking at pictures of her online, now granted, she's not a well-documented doll. You're not really going to find a lot about her out there. In fact, you're kind of hard-pressed to even find one that's mint and unused. So, from what I can tell, she just has a ponytail. So we can give her a little ponytail. Now, Mitzy did come in some different hairstyles. She came with a ponytail with curly bangs. She came with a ponytail with straight bangs. And in Canada, she was made by the Reliable Company, and she came in a bubble cut. There we go, and that is Mitzy for you. But I will be recurling some of her hair so that way she will have more of a tapered curl. I'm also going to try to get this to boil wash to like go this way or something, so that way it's not like so much in her face like that. I am excited to have this doll because although she is not Barbie, I do think that she's quite pretty, and she just needs a couple little touch-ups here and there on her face. But other than that, I do think that she is a really pretty doll. Her body is a little bit awkward compared to Barbie, especially. Granted, Barbie was so new, and everything coming out then, even the vinyl was so new, that everything was just almost experimental. And she definitely veers on the end of experiments. I like to think of her as almost as if Tammy and Barbie had a baby. So I've got like a little bit of plastic on her right here, so that way I can just hold down that bang so that it doesn't just like go all the way up like it had been. And I'm going to do my little curling method with my little curling papers and pipe cleaners. Now, have I mentioned that this doll has beautiful, luxurious saran hair? Pretty sure I did, but wow. I wish Barbie came with saran hair like this at this time. It would be a lot easier to do, less breakage. But Ideal had this really gorgeous saran hair. So in some ways, Mitzy was a little bit better, but in most ways, Barbie wasn't even afraid, if you know what I mean. I honestly think that Mitzy would have done well if she really if the designing team really understood the assignment of what they had to do to compete with Barbie. It was at this point that I decided that I had to do a voiceover. Downstairs, there was somebody down there banging on pots and pans. Quiet on the set truly means nothing in this house. Like, this is actual footage of what I'm pretty sure was going on down there. It's like, oh no, she's filming, it's time to break plates. Between all the background noise and the dolls, you'd swear this place was haunted. But anyway, I know that some of you do not listen to this part of my videos, but if you are interested in how to do your doll's hair by curling it, I already have a video on how to style your doll's hair in my doll restorations tutorials playlist. You can very easily watch that and learn what doll hair you're working with, as well as how to work with it. So if I'm not doing a very good job at explaining what I'm doing, it's probably because I've already done it. And again, that playlist is there to help you in your restoration needs, or maybe you just want to give them a makeover. It's good for that too. Or maybe you're bored. I don't know. It's great for that as well. Or maybe you're working on a project and you want to work on it together. Just think of all the magic we could create. I personally love watching YouTube whenever I'm doing some sort of like project. Am I the only one? Let me know down in the comments. Now it's time to do a partial repaint. If you are new here, hi, how are ya? But a lot of my former subscribers can tell you exactly how I repaint. That's if they watch my videos. I'm really hoping that they do. When I repaint, I like to use very diluted acrylic paints. I like to go in with very thin coats. That way you don't leave any brush strokes and it looks more airbrushed, as the majority of these dolls were airbrushed. They would have these really cool metal plates that were molded like masks, which is a really hard word for me to say, but they would have little shapes cut out and that would have been the stencil. Did it leave them all looking consistent? No, and I love that about them because each doll has their own personality, and you can find this with any doll that has been airbrushed. When I'm doing a restoration, it's important for me, especially when repainting, to repaint what was once there and not add any of my own personal flair. That way I can try to keep the original historical integrity of the item that I'm working on. Also, don't be too mad at yourself if you do mess up, because shit happens. And factories messed up all the time, and honestly, that didn't stop them from actually selling their products. It even happened with Mattel from the 1960s. Barbie sometimes was even wonky back then, but even then she still looked glamorous. And just like that, she's done. Okay, so we have her swimsuit bottoms, and they are clean, although they don't look it. I just hate this fabric.
I hate you, drop dead.
But anyway, that's just a totally other thing. It's just incredibly cheap. But anywho, it does have an elastic band here. This happens to be the weirdest construction I've ever seen for a swimsuit. I just have no words, but other than what the hell. Anywho, it is all stretched out, and I'm going to replace it with some new elastic so that way it can be held onto her body without it being such a struggle. It does look like this had come off in the past and somebody tried to repair it, but it looks like they gave a good allowance of elastic, but they never touched in the back, so I'm going to try to reproduce the same thing. I went ahead and I sewn on some new elastic, so let's put this on the doll, begrudgingly. This outfit again had some of the strangest construction I think I've ever seen on a fashion doll's outfit. Definitely not the strangest in the whole world, but definitely strange enough for me to make it memorable. I'm a big fan of purple too. I just don't like the texture of this whole outfit. The ribbon unfortunately was very short, so there was no way I was going to retie it and put it back in a knot. But there's her swimsuit. Woo! We're going to go ahead and take out her curlers so that we can brush out her hair. And the hair should turn out really lovely because this is vintage saran and it holds a curl phenomenally. It's the same hair that they used for their plastic Shirley Temple dolls and of course their Miss Revlon dolls. When I brush a doll's hair, I personally like to start at the root, but I don't go to the ends until the very end. I like to brush the curl down, but not all the way down, if that makes sense. And it's also at this point that you can go ahead and start training the ends of the hair. From all of the mentor examples of Mitzy, which there really isn't that many on Google, I found that the hair does curl up, not under. and you can either leave it up like that or you can do something else with it, which I'm going to do here in a minute. It also appeared that Mitzy came with a purple ribbon on top of her ponytail. It looked to be made out of a cotton cord, but I didn't have any, so I just used a purple satin, and it goes really well with her whole swimsuit. This is where I'm going to brush the hair down even more because I want it to be closer to the nape of her neck, which is a personal choice. You don't have to do that. And like I said, you can leave it right here. I think that looks really cute. It does look actually very original. However, I'd like the hair just to stick down a little bit more. I'm sticking a piece of blonde thread around her neck and then looping it around the hard curl at the end of her ponytail. I'm pulling the knot pretty tight so that way it sits at the nape of her neck, because I personally think that this looks a lot better. Now it's time for a reveal and comparison. Okay, here she is all done. Looking like a proper girl now. Very pretty. So Mitzy was made obviously as a competitor to Barbie. This was Ideal's second answer to the Barbie doll. Their first answer was like, I think it was called like Liz Carroll or Carol Brent. I've seen them with both names. They really tried to sell that doll. It just didn't sell very well for them. It was a larger doll, probably about 15 inches. They were still thinking along the lines of a Miss Revlon and not necessarily the new movement, which would be 11 and a half inches tall. So this was their second response to Barbie, Miss Mitzy. Now, she is rather beautiful, actually. I mean, like for a, what you would call Barbie clone, she is her own unique little doll here. She has her own individual body, although the hands are a little suspicious to Barbie. They have the same separation, but their construction is completely different. This doll is half blow molded, so this is blow molded plastic and that's blow molded plastic, and then the head and the arms are made of the same vinyl. Very unique doll. So just think of like a Tammy. She's made just like a Tammy doll of that time period, but just has a little bit more of a Barbie image. To me, this is like if Tammy and Barbie had a baby, this is how it would look. It would look just like Ideal's Mitzy. Now, this is her original swimsuit. It is made of a flocked faux velveteen fabric. It's in terrible quality, in my opinion, or at least it's not stood the test of time. It's very papery. It's not very fun. It ties off in the back, but also has an elastic band. It's just really not cute. I don't know. I love the color. I am a purple girly. I love purple, and this doll's color scheme is purple. The OG dolls usually would be in a ponytail like this, and they came with a little purple ribbon. I purchased this doll because honestly, I'm always curious about dolls from this time period. She definitely has a look that I personally like, and I have a lot of 1960s Barbie doll patterns that I'd like to make. And I think it would be interesting to see them fit all body types of that time period, whether it be Barbie, Mitzy, Tammy, Tressie, Misty, Ideal's Glamour Misty doll. It would be so interesting to see all of those patterns be utilized for all these different body types that were available at that time or in that time frame. So I did purchase her with a plan in mind, but I knew I specifically wanted one that was actually had like curly bangs, because a lot of them come with the straight bangs, and I used to have one actually that had straight bangs, and I just didn't really have any feelings for it, although personally I do feel like it was a little bit of a prettier doll. But I found this off chance, and I didn't even know it had its swimsuit because it was wearing a Tammy outfit I also wanted. So I thought it was a double score, and then whenever I got it in person, I realized it was even a triple score. But anywho, let's do a comparison between her and Barbie of that time so you can see like what your choices were. You could either get this Ideal Mitzi doll in 1961, or you could get this ponytail Barbie doll in 1961. Now I'm putting them side by side so you can see exactly how they are. You can tell that Mitzy is taller and they are around the same shape. Mitzy is just very elongated compared to Barbie. But you can definitely see where their inspiration was from. It's no mystery, honestly, but we all know who the victor was. It was Miss Barbara Millicent Roberts right here. She did win out the audience. I think Ideal's main problem with this doll was not necessarily the doll itself, but I think that, and they realized this within a year, that they were competing with a doll like Barbie. And Barbie, you couldn't really improve on Barbie's concept because Mattel really had a solid plan. They had amazing designers and great technicians and wonderful workers who made the best quality product. With Ideal, in turn, they were a larger toy company at this time, believe it or not, and they had a lot more resources than what Mattel had at this time. And they also were doing a lot more dolls. So although Ideal was not being successful in the fashion doll market at this time, they were very successful in the baby doll market. They were killing and slaying Mattel left and right in the baby doll market, in the boys division and everything. So make no mistake, Ideal was not, hurting by any means.
At least not quite yet.
Over not being victorious against Barbie at this time around. But the next year, I think they did realize, whenever they did unveil this doll, that they needed to do something that was different to Barbie, almost the answer that Barbie didn't have at that time. And a lot of parents did not like Barbie, actually. They thought that she looked almost whorish.
Boo, you whore.
She looked like an easy woman.
Let's just say Barbie didn't look like she was going to church, and she definitely wasn't waiting on no man.
That made her controversial to a lot of closed-minded people, which they are still around today. This Barbie did look rather intimidating. So when they unveiled this, it's really not doing anything for the market that did not have a voice yet. And there's still people like that today, like where even Barbie today, who doesn't really look like herself, who looks more demure, mindful, as they say,
Or just straight up wonky.
there are still people that complain that Barbie is still not demure enough. So you will always have like companies like Lamely, whoever remembers that doll, So you'll always have a person who would prefer a Lamely doll over a Barbie doll. And that was a market at that time that was not tapped whatsoever. They had Betsy McCall dolls, but they didn't have dolls that didn't look as intimidating, that were supposed to be teenage fashion model dolls. So I do understand why Tammy came out the next year, and then Tammy was a success. And just so that you can understand what I'm saying, maybe you've never seen a Tammy doll. Let me get my Tammy doll.
Bippity boppity butt crack.
1962 comes around, Mitzy is out, but Tammy is in. So this was their third response to Barbie, and it did seem to stick this time. Tammy was a moderate success. I'm not going to say that she was the biggest success. She was a moderate one. She did not outsell Barbie by any means, but she definitely kept Barbie on her toes. This was a more demure alternative for a teenage fashion model doll. She is not very busty, as you can see. She looks very much like a child still. Let me take off the glasses. She has a childlike expression. She's not intimidating whatsoever. You're not going to feel threatened by this doll. She's a lot thicker. She is definitely, like I said, a little bit more childish compared to the Barbie doll, who is supposed to be a model. So you can tell that they really shifted their goal here by less than a year. They were like, you know what? I think we've got to work on this whole Tammy doll aspect. So Mitzy was patented in 1960. She might have been released in 1960. She was for sure out there on toy shelves in 1961. Again, Barbie came out victorious, as she should. But then the next year, Tammy came out and really did give Barbie a run for her money.
Although Barbie outsold Tammy in America, the Japanese doll market actually preferred Tammy over Barbie. Then when the Reliable Toy Company got their hands on Tammy's molds, they made her into Cindy, and that is another doll history moment.
And even Tammy dolls had doll clones, which goes to show some of her popularity. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the restoration. If you did, please leave a comment down in the description. It really helps me out. Please like and share this video so it can get across to all of our doll clubs. Let us grow our doll community as best as we can, my darlings. Thank you all so much for being here. I have some very exciting things coming on the way. A whole week dedicated to one particular doll, and I hope you enjoy it. But I will see you then, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day today. Bye-bye.
Who is the girl with the twinkle in her eyes? It's Tammy, the ideal teen. Who's got everything you dream about? Who is touch without a doubt? It's Tammy, Tammy. She's the ideal teen.
Look what you can get for Tammy now. A shiny new sports car and travel cases like this steamer trunk that hold Tammy and all her clothes. And look at Tammy's ideal new house with its own snack bar, a ping pong table, and a patio. Like it? We'll just fold it up and take it to your house, along with Tammy's car and travel cases.
Who's got a house that's a dream come true? Traveling bags and a sports car too. It's Tammy, Tammy.
You can buy clothes and loads of things for Tammy.
She's the ideal teen.